Nick Hart from Backstreet Boys.
Shout out to Boy Band Break.
It's Chris Kirkpatrick here. Shout out to your podcast, Boy Band Break.
Everybody, this is Howie D, and I'm listening to Boy Band Break.
Hi, Ashley Parker Angel here. Huge shout out to the Boy Band Break podcast.
This is Brad from LFO, and you are listening to Boy Band Break.
Hey, what's up? This is Jacob.
What's up? It's Dan.
What's up? It's Trevor.
And it's Eric Michael, and it's time for Boy Band Break, baby. Let's go!
Bam, 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 bam.
Welcome back to Boy Band Break, where we encourage you to take a break from your day and join us in some boy band conversation. As always,
I'm Chinzia.
I'm Sophia.
And I'm Lydia, aka Mama Lou.
Diane is off again this week. She has a bit of a sore throat, so the perils of being a teacher in the winter months. So there you go.
Wishing her a speedy recovery.
Yes, hope she feel better soon.
All right. So today's episode, we had some thoughts about how we wanted to do this, but then we decided, you know what, let's just do it. So as you guys know from previous episodes, Lance Bass from NSYNC and his husband, wow, I cannot speak today. His husband, Michael Turchin, have a boy band podcast called Frosted Tips. So on it, each episode, they bring various boy band members on. So we weren't specifically going to do like a recap for each individual one, but then we figured out, you know what the hell? So let's do this. In the future, we might combine like maybe 2 episodes into one or something. But for today, it's the newest episode. So when you're listening to this would have come out the previous Monday. So every Monday they release a new episode. And we figure that we have not shown O-Town some love recently. So we are going to dedicate this episode to the episode that they just did with Trevor Penick from O-Town. So there you go.
The hot, beautiful man. Let's go. I'm ready. All right.
Lydia's favorite.
I know.
Shall we retell that story right now, or do you want
later? Later, it's okay.
Okay. Sounds good. So, Soph, did you take notes?
I did not.
Okay, so I took notes. So I guess we'll go with my notes, and then if you think
I have not seen it yet, mostly because I had to do a lot of stuff for my upcoming show coming up. I do burlesque in my hometown, so I wasn't able to listen to it. But I am very interested to hear because I love Trevor. He is awawooga, as they say in the scientific realm.
I think this one had a lot of interesting information because we didn't know. Like, I feel like we know a lot about Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. We don't know that much. We do know about O-Town, but not as much as the other bands.
All right,
exactly. So they had some nice little nuggets there.
Yeah.
So first off, just if you haven't listened to Frosted Tips with Lance Bass yet, again, that's available anywhere you get podcasts. Not on YouTube yet, I don't believe. I think it's just like on the iHeart. They're actually like this time it's a real podcast. iHeart has them, things like that. First off, before we get into this, can I just say, like, I don't know if they play the same commercials in all of the episodes or if, like, they just insert commercials differently. Like, I don't know. So like, I feel like I keep hearing for like Svetlana, and then this like Russian astronaut thing or something.
Yeah.
But I wonder if it's actually like pre-recorded like that, or if they just kind of like iHeart just like puts them in. I don't know.
I guess because those are the ones that are on iHeart, so they're just like got to promote the ones that are on their channel or whatever.
Here's the thing that I find interesting. Like, I don't actually understand how they make money. Obviously, we don't know how to make money because we have not made a single dollar from this. But when Lance was doing his other podcast during the pandemic-y times, he actually had like sponsorships, like, you know, like the food subscription services or like a razor or something like that. So then him and Michael would make really ridiculous commercials and they would insert it in and whatever like this. So it would be for like actual products and things. This one, they're just promoting all other podcasts. Like, have you heard any commercial that's not promoting another podcast?
No, it's the same.
And the podcasts sound very interesting, so I think that's good. So I guess it's really good cross promotion, but I have no idea like how this works because, as you know, with radio, it's free. So this is like an online radio thing. So it's not like a Netflix where it's subscription based, where you have to like pay money and then the money goes out to things. So I don't know. I just think it's interesting. So maybe they obviously have some sort of other way of making money, but I don't know what it is. So that has nothing to do with anything. I just thought I was hearing a lot of interesting podcasts, and in this particular episode, I heard a couple of times there's talking about this Russian cosmonaut thing. So first, Lance said that he was talking about how he was in the space program and all that stuff. And it sounded like there's going to be a podcast about Lance's experience in Russia.
So it's about that guy in Russia.
But
He's
then
like
it
a
was
Russian
talking about a guy who was in outer space for like 312 days or something, because I guess he was launched into space and then there
was no one to take his spot,
Russia,
so he had to stay.
USSR like broke up, so there was no country to claim him. So it does sound kind of interesting, but I don't know. So they have a couple of that. There's also like one I keep hearing for Svetlana, which is about the Russian Tsar's daughter who moves to Hollywood or something. I don't know, and then there's just like random crime podcasts and things like that. So I was like,
and I heard one about a 90s podcast as well.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that one. So maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I was like, okay.
There you go. Well, lots of podcasts around. Anyway, so how, Lydia, I'm not sure if you've actually listened to any of the Frosted Tips episodes.
Like only like in the car with you sometimes, but like maybe not like a whole one from start to finish. No.
Okay, so how it starts is that Michael and Lance will just have like a little bit of a chit chat at the beginning, kind of like how we do. Then they have their guests, they do the whole thing, and then they do like a little quick wrap up type thing. And then there's obviously these commercials throughout. Anyway, so as you know, Lance and Michael have twins, a boy and a girl.
This one was very interesting.
So cute.
So the son is named Alexander James, right?
AJ,
yes. So then Lance was talking about how like weird it is to call him Alexander because he doesn't feel like this kid is Alexander. And I believe they're about 1.5 years old. About that.
I think so. Yeah.
So he's like, the name's not really fitting. And then he said some other name, which I can't remember. Pucciana or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Because it was a joke, I guess, when their surrogate was pregnant that they were going to call the twin, and then the mother-in-law like freaked out and was like, "You can't call the kid Panucci." So sometimes they call him that. But the other name that he really likes right now is Buster. He wants.
Oh my
Buster
God,
James,
that was funny.
because he thinks Alexander is too like it doesn't really fit the kid. I was like, you could also just like shorten the name to like Alex or Al or even Rex, if you will, like something like that. Like I was just like,
or you could just call him AJ.
Disconnect between Alexander and Buster.
Yeah.
It's just like, but yeah. So anyway, so then Trevor came on around this time when they were discussing this, and then he was saying how
you can't do that. You can't change the name.
Yes, it's a cool name, but you can't change your child's name a year out. Mm-hmm. But I guess, which I also thought was weird because he was saying that because Michael has a twin sister.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know what her name is, but at the time when they were born, the parents didn't know what to call them, so they called Michael Buster and they called the sister Peanut on their birth certificates, but then they changed them later. It was a very confusing story. I was like, this is a really odd start to this episode.
You had 9 months to think about it, guys.
Just like, so there you go. Anyways, apparently they're not going to officially change the son's name, but they like to try out these different nicknames, whatever. So then they were talking about the Super Bowl, and then they're like, "Oh yes, the Super Bowl," and then
Rihanna.
they're like, because they film it ahead of time, so they're like, "Yes, we love the Super Bowl, but this is airing afterwards," type thing. So they're like, "Oh yes, go Eagles," or the other team. Like, it was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
So like, okay. Then I was kind of zoned out, but then apparently Trevor sold cars for 8 months. I didn't.
Yeah.
For the Super Bowl, I wasn't.
It's pretty charming. I can that.
Yeah, I didn't really. I don't know. I heard that, but I was also like, okay, can you get on with some more interesting things?
Yes, there you go. So apparently Trevor moved somewhere and then sold cars for 8 months. So that was the thing they did. As you know, Trevor is from. Do you know where Trevor is from, Lydia?
Pennsylvania.
It's in California.
Los Santos.
Rancho Cucamonga.
He's from Rancho Cucamonga? That's a real place?
It is a real place, yes. But that was like one of the making the band.
That's amazing. Oh my God. I didn't know. No, you know what? I feel like
they were just saying how fun of a word that is to say, which is
it was hilarious.
But I definitely remember that from the Making the Band days. That was like a thing for. Okay. So then they were kind of talking about high school reunions because I think Trevor said he graduated in like 97-ish or something. So it's like coming up to like the 30th anniversary. He's like, oh God.
Do an O-Town concert.
So here's the thing. I don't know if this is just an American thing or not. Or so did you go to public or Catholic school?
I went to public school.
Okay, so maybe we went to Catholic school and stuff. Have you ever had a reunion for high school? Or is this just a thing that they do in the movies or in America?
Yeah, I think it's just America.
Because we definitely don't. We have our high school has had an anniversary, and actually our high school is having an anniversary in April for their 50th anniversary. But it's like anyone who went to the high school in this 50 years can come to this party.
Yeah, like my high school had a 75th anniversary, and like we would help their like decorate, but we weren't invited to it because
it's like
we weren't there. So.
But
you can decorate, but you can't come.
You can't come. No,
I don't know. It wasn't for us though. I don't know. I just felt like okay.
Yeah, so I don't know. So listeners, let us know. Does your school actually do these like 10-year, 20-year reunions? Is this just an American thing? Like, I don't understand. But all these movies are based on them going back like, oh, it's my 20-year reunion. Oh, look, I'm super hot or successful and all this shit. Or, oh, I don't want to come back and hilarity ensues. Like, I'm just like, does this happen in real life or is this just something that is made for movies? That's what I would like to know.
I feel like it's the U.S. or movies.
Yeah, the United States has a lot of like rite of passage things, like like prom,
homecoming, and all that stuff. Yes, and
they like to do like a lot of bonding things.
Yes.
Yeah. Americans like to bond.
Yeah. So Lance was saying, so Trevor has gone to his high school reunions and stuff. I guess every 10 years they have one or something. And then Lance was saying something about like the president of the student council is the one that organizes this. I was like, really? Even after all these years, like after you graduate, you're still like, oh, you're in this for life, bro. You're in charge of planning things. Like, I don't know.
I guess because it's a small like town, it's okay. I don't know.
To be fair, a lot of people who are student council peak in high school and they want to relive the glory days. So that's why it's in their interest to welcome people back and be like, look, see, I'm not a loser. See, look, I found someone to marry. I made children. Look at them.
So would this be
that's usually what it is, right?
School reunion.
Yeah, sorry, you guys are both talking at the same time. Sorry. So first sentence.
So I said usually that's why you go to show that okay, I got married. This is all the cool things I'm doing now.
Yeah, or I have a big weight loss and like I got hits put in. Like. So.
Yeah.
Anyways, what are you saying?
Sorry.
I was saying, would this be a bad time to tell you that I'm helping out with our school reunion?
Oh my God, are you really? Oh my God, Josh! Did Josh talk you into this?
No, I wanted to do it, but yes, Josh is also doing it. But yes, anyways, okay. All right. Anyways, I digress. So Lance has never been to a high school reunion, but he keeps in touch with the people. He's still close with a lot of people he went to high school with, and that's like keep in touch with the good people. Which
did he go to high school?
Alan, same thing. He's like, I'm not coming back to our reunion, but I keep in touch with the people or person that I want to keep in touch with. So
why?
Yeah, because he has a group chat with them, and then he was saying that sometimes he doesn't remember the ones that are not memorable. So when they say, "Oh, so and so passed away," he's like, "I can't remember the face or the name to," and he's like,
"I totally zoned out of that part. I don't remember."
Yeah, he sure said that. I was like, "Oh, wait, I don't know if you want to say that in a podcast, but sure."
Yeah.
But I get it. When you get older, you don't remember people. I understand.
Also, when Lance
talking about Lance or Trevor who said this?
Lance.
Oh, okay.
In Lance's defense, though, he also left during high school to go be in sync. So he wasn't there for graduation and all that shit. Or I think he might have gone back for graduation, but he didn't obviously have those moments and stuff. Anyways, so now we move along. So just to confirm, O-Town's manager's name is Joel.
Yes.
Because I keep saying Joel, and then I said Kyle, and then I got confused, and then I was just like, crap, I can't remember his name. His name is Joel.
And then I was like, yeah, I think it's Joel.
And we've recently talked to him and then some stuff. So like Joel's lovely, hung out with him in LA with him and Trevor at the Aaron Carter Memorial after that. So we did
Songs for Tomorrow.
Yes, Songs for Tomorrow. Yes. So anyway, so I did not realize that Joel has actually been a part of Trevor's life forever, like ages. Like, so Joel is their tour manager now. But he was Trevor's best friend in school.
Oh.
And I believe this was college.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because he said, I went to college.
So yes, because Trevor did go to college and he had like the college life experience and frats and all that stuff. Anyway, so Joel was on the school paper in the newspaper, and then he heard about this audition that was happening for making the band. Because it was ABC was doing it, Lou Pearlman had backed it, like it was this whole big thing, right? So obviously this is how O-Town got together, was Making the Band.
Yeah.
So Joel goes to Trevor and like, listen, we need to audition. We need to do this. So we're going to film like an audition tape and send it in. So they did that. And then Joel got the email saying that, yes, like, hey, Joel, we want you to audition for this. It's at the Hard Rock Cafe in LA, blah, 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 on this day. Trevor had just got email because this, the beginning of email times. Yeah. Did not get an email to request them, but there was also open auditions. So you have to know that Making the Band was before American Idol. So like American Idol was not a thing yet. So this is kind of like one of the very first like reality shows to put a band together type thing. So look at that, Lou the visionary over there. So,
see, ahead of his time.
Ahead of his time.
God bless him.
So Joel's like, dude, come with me to this audition. Like, he's like, nah, I'm like, I didn't get picked, whatever. He's like, first of all, we were in the video together. And second of all, like, I don't want to drive from Rancho Cucamonga or wherever they were to LA alone. Come with me. And Trevor's like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. So they ended up going there, and they were signing in, and there was a list. So because Joel had been pre-selected, they like checked his name on the list. Like, yep, you're there. Trevor's like, well, try to. He's like, yeah, is my name on the list too? I auditioned with Joel here. Like, we had our tape together. And Letty's like, nope, you're not on the list. Sorry. She's like, but you can get in line and go audition there. And then he's like,
it's like a big line.
Because he didn't even want to go, but Joel's the one who encouraged him to go. So he's like, fuck. He's like, it's an hour and a half, this line, but whatever. So he gets in the line. And while he's in the line, like, so he's at the end of it, he starts singing Tearing Up My Heart from NSYNC to himself. So that was going to be his audition song. So I think that's kind of cool that he was on the podcast with Lance, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Full
so
circle moment almost.
Yeah.
So he's singing in line, and this guy, Andy Gross, starts coming out and kind of like looking through the line, and then gets to Trevor. And it's like, are you ready to audition right now? And Trevor's like, yeah, I guess. He's like, okay. So he like pulls him all the way up to the front. Like, another guy was about to start. He's like, yeah, hold on for a second. Puts Trevor right up there in front of Lou and everyone. He was like, okay, dude, do your thing. And Trevor's like, okay. So he
apparently he stood out in the line from singing.
Different, whatever. I don't know. He had charisma. Who knows? The guy just you here, pulls him in. Like, can you imagine? Like, I've had that happen to me before in picture day because I get high anxiety over pictures. School picture day, and I remember being in the back, and I was just like at the back, and finally the person's like here, and they pulled me up, and that gave me even more anxiety. So I can only imagine if you're like mentally prepping in line back there, and suddenly like, okay, cool, there's Lou Pearlman, this big guy who's made these 2 giant bands. Go audition right now. Yeah, and he wasn't even wanting to audition because he felt discouraged because he didn't make the first cut. Anyway, so he gets there, he does make it. So what they end up doing is that they pick 25 people. And they're like, okay, these are the 25 people for the show. This is what we're doing, whatever. So of that 25, they then narrowed it down to 8 people. So when they got to the 8 people, those are the people that moved into the house together. So they did all their like training and all that stuff. We should really do a rewatch of Making the Band. I feel like something that
I'll put it on the list.
Put it on the list, Lydia.
Put it on the list.
All right.
Which is really hard to find, by the way, because O-Town, they did 3 seasons. But then they had Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, whatever.
Yeah, Diddy took it over.
Thing, which is also called Making the Band. But I believe for his, each season is a different band. Whereas the original one, it's 3 seasons of O-Town. But I digress. Anyways. So it gets down to 8. And they picked it based on your talent and your TV ability. Like if you're charismatic, right? Your character, your whatever for TV. So as you know, and then from that 8. So then Lance also said at this point they had a friend named Paul. I'm not sure if Paul was in the top 8 or Paul just knew about this. So he's telling Lance about it because the boys were in Europe, so they didn't really know what was going on with this. So he was kind of like whatever. But then Paul ended up being in that country boy band called Marshall Dillon. Yes. Remember when we met them, Lydia? Or did you not come for that?
I remember the name Marshall Dillon and remember the name country. I'm like, I hate country music. Sorry.
Trevor loves them. He's like, they have good songs.
God bless.
Yes. They were okay. I saw them in Hamilton at, it was like Waterfest, RBC Waterfest.
I'm sure I
that
don't.
Where, not Adam Gregory. Aaron Lines. That's where I met Aaron Lines for the first time and other stuff. So it was definitely like a country event, and it was cool. And we used to write that fanfic. I don't know if you remember that, Lydia.
Of course, it's the fanfic you talk about probably once a month. Yes, I do.
So Stacy was really into Marshall Dillon, so she was going to come. We were going to actually meet her for the first time, but then her mom's like, "I'm not driving to Hamilton for that." So, anyways, and they were less. But I also remember, and I was going to sound so stupid. So we used to have this dollar store called Looney Lizard, and at it they had this like little flashlight that looked like a cell phone, but it was like a smaller. This was before cell phones had lights on them, by the way.
Oh God.
So
that's how old we are.
The concert was happening, and by the time Marshall Dillon, because for some reason they were headlining, by the time they got on stage, it was like super dark, and I was like obviously wanted to stand out in the crowd, so I turned on this little like flashlight thing, and I was like shining on me so I could be like, hey.
Oh, you were like the spotlight on you.
Smart, well done.
And let me tell you, it worked because they did an autograph signing afterwards. Like, oh, we saw you in the crowd. That's so cool. I'm like, what is that? I'm like, it's a flashlight. And then I used it so they could sign the thing. And then they signed my name wrong because, you know, even though you spell out the name, I find that if I say my name first, so obviously my name is Chinzia, but if I say it first, because it has that ch sound, they automatically put CH.
Yeah.
It's like, there's no H. I'm like, CINZ. And this was the first time I remembered that Americans have different pronunciations.
Oh, yeah.
I was probably like 14 or 15 at the time. So I was like, CINZIA. And he's like, what? I'm like, Zed. He's like, and I'm like looking at him and he's looking at me. And I was just like, and then I was just like, Z, sorry, Z. And he's like, oh, Z. I was like, I said my name. You heard the sound. What sound do you think this letter is?
Oh, no. He's like, I don't speak Canadian. Sorry.
Oh, crazy Canadians. What are they doing? Anyway, so that's my Marshall
crazy
Dillon
sounds.
Story. That's the only time. I feel like they had one hit song. I cannot remember the name of the song right now.
He said it, but I don't recall.
He did say the name of the song too, and I was just like, shit, I forgot about it.
But I feel like I've heard of them as well back in the day.
Yeah, because they were trying everything. They're like, oh, we got to capitalize on all this boy bandness.
Yeah, go on all the genres, right?
And there is actually a country boy band right now that we might want to like figure out for a future episode. So it's called On the Outside.
No thanks.
There, Lydia.
Why are they an adjacent?
They're a boy band, so I think that's why we would do that.
They're a country boy band?
Country boy band.
Oh, I'll put it on the list. What's it called again?
The one that I'm talking about, or the one that you're looking up?
The one that you said put them on the list.
On the line or
on the outside?
On the outside. Okay.
Half of those people were on that boy band TV show.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yes.
All right, they are added to the on the outside.
On the list, Lydia.
Okay, well then why didn't you say add them to the list?
I don't know. I just feel like you're being. I thought you made a face because you looked up Marshall Dillon.
I tried to look up Marshall Dillon and I couldn't find anything.
Yes,
it's all very confusing. Please continue.
Anyways, not a big deal. He, I think, was in the top 8 and then ended up going to the other band. So then Trevor was talking about the top 5. So obviously it's the 4 current members. And then your friend Ikaika.
I thought of you, Lydia. I was like,
Lydia.
Lydia's favorite, Ikaika.
Yes,
Ikaika love.
Mm-hmm.
So then they were saying how he quit, but then they got Dan. So what was interesting, and I feel like at the time this was also pointed out. So they had 25, went down to 8. So the 8 is who they focused on the show. They went down to 5. Then Ikaika left. So you would think that you would get it from one of the other 3 that were in the top 8.
Correct.
Dan was not in the top 8. He was just
that was very interesting. Yeah,
he was just delivering a pizza one day. Trying to be in a band.
Essentially, what happened was, although he was very talented and made it into the top 25, he wasn't deemed interesting enough for TV.
I could see that.
A non-controversial, so
yeah, okay.
So, but what happened?
He's quiet, right? Reserved.
Yeah.
Yes. So Ikaika was in the band for about 3 months, and then he left. And then management.
Go to medical school or veterinary school or something.
He became a doctor or something.
Later, there's that. Yes. Anyway, so they said, they went to the 4 that were remaining and said, who do you want in the band? And even though none of them had discussed it with each other, I'm not sure if they actually said it all at once or if they were individually, but they all said they want Dan in the band.
I made it sound like it was like an individual thing. Like they asked them individually, but I don't know. It could be either or.
Out of 25 people, they all landed on Dan.
Mm-hmm.
God bless. I mean, maybe he is personable. I'm not gonna lie. He's pretty.
Dan's the man, baby.
Dan is the man.
I guess they had their shot of 1 in 20 people, and then I guess out of these 20 people, they figured, I guess Dan is who they clicked with. Had his style, all that stuff. So yeah, so then they're like, all right, cool. So then they put Dan in the band. And again, they had mentioned this was before Canadian Idol. Then Lance was talking about if they'd ever gone to Germany or anything, like, like how Backstreet and NSYNC did. So he said, yep, they did like a 35 city tour and like the radio stations and all that jazz.
But they just did a tour. They didn't live there like the boys did, like BSB or NSYNC. Yeah.
Shorter stint than Backstreet or NSYNC, right? Because boy bands had already broken into North America at that point. So it didn't need to be that full.
Yes.
Whatever. So they were signed to BMG by Clive Davis. So Clive Davis signed them.
So it's J Records.
Yes, he said that later, but at that point they said it was called BMG.
Sorry, you said Canadian Idol. You meant American Idol, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Just making sure. Anyways,
well, both, right? Both came after.
Idol came after American.
That's right. That's right. You're right.
Yes.
Okay.
So then they kind of went on a tangent about how great Clive Davis's Grammy parties are. Fest. And they announce new artists there at these parties, and they usually have like a new artist performing. So they were talking about how Alicia Keys was performing there, so that's how they first saw her.
They took a picture with her and her big hat.
Yes,
cute.
So then they said that O-Town is the first act. So I guess Clive was with BMG and then he left to make his own thing. So he made J Records. So O-Town was the first act that he signed under J Records, and Alicia Keys was also at their CD release party, and that's where they took the picture with the hat and all that jazz. She was wearing a hat, not them. So they were just like, oh, okay. And then so then she obviously also got signed to J Records.
Nice.
But then they were saying how like they got to fly in a private jet once with her to Monaco for an awards ceremony.
Wow.
So it was just like pretty cool. Like there's a lot of cool things happening with Clive. Interesting. He was also with Whitney Houston, was he not?
Yes.
Yes, because I feel like
they had a 25-year career.
Yes. So how Trevor was describing it sounded very much like how it was happening in this Whitney Houston movie that I just saw recently. Again, about how
I Want to Dance with Somebody.
That one. So
that's a good movie.
So like Clive has a good ear. He's very talented. He takes care of the artist. Like it was an interesting. I was just like, I just saw that movie and it mentioned Clive Davis. So there you go. Anyways, so then eventually, like after a while, they do get dropped from the label because Lance is like, "Who are you guys with now?" And they're like, he's like, "Or are you guys independent?" So they are independent now, and they're still independent, but they like being independent because they get to kind of like choose their own thing and have their own creative control and all that stuff. Jacob wanted to kind of manage them. He has a bit of a business background, so he was kind of doing a lot of that stuff. So
I found it interesting because BSB also did it like independent for one album, but then they're like, no, let's go back to a label.
I can confirm I was signed to be I signed with a primary agent, and it was like the worst experience of my life. And I fired my agent, and now I'm independent, and it's so much, you feel like you can breathe more because there's not all those expectations on you. So I can understand why they did it. It does suck though.
Pros and cons. Obviously with the label, they have more marketing budget,
more money,
things behind you. They have like bigger, more elaborate shows. They
that's true.
Get the better producers and songwriters and things like that. But it also costs a lot to do this stuff. So a lot is recouped and things like that. And you're forced to do certain events if you don't want to do them, like things like that. Too bad, so sad. This is what you have to do. They schedule your life more. So it really is just kind of up to you. Like, do you want to go like go, or do you want to just kind of like do it your own pace and hope for like whatever, right?
And they seem a lot happier. O-Town,
for sure.
Yeah,
because I feel like O-Town does stuff on their own wavelength, and they're good with what they do. So
and their meet and greets are like way different than what a corporate meet and greet would be. So really more beneficial to the fans too.
Yes. And cheaper.
Yeah, too.
Yes. So they are good. Okay. So then they just got, probably about like 8 to 10 years ago or whatever, they decided, you know what, maybe we should do some stuff. So then somebody had reached out to them about doing like 5 shows overseas in like Europe or something. So at this time they did ask Ashley. They're like, hey, let's all get back together. But Ashley said no, solely because at this time he had just got signed to be on Broadway and do like one show. I believe that was with Wicked.
Oh
yeah, something else. I'm not sure.
I think so.
So he's like, listen, like this is a steady gig where like you're going to be months and months on Broadway, and that's like a pretty big thing to aspire to, and stuff like that. And this at the time was just 5 like random one-off shows in Europe type thing.
Yeah,
right?
I would have taken Broadway too. Oh, Ashley.
Right, exactly, right? Because you got to do what's best for you, right? So they announced these Europe shows, but then the American fans were like, hello, you need to come here too. Like this is America.
Exist. Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's America. So they're like, yeah, okay, I guess if there's interest, why the hell not, right? So they did that. Then they eventually like did the crowdfunding, and they like, you know what, we're having so much fun.
Oh, what I thought was interesting, what I thought was interesting was Jacob tweeted out, do you want an O-Town reunion? And then they saw that there was interest, and then he's like, okay, I guess we're doing an O-Town reunion.
Why the hell not, right? Like,
see, Twitter works in mysterious ways.
Social media, man. Social media definitely helped out a lot.
Because I think he said 2013 was the year that it.
I believe so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I thought that was interesting that Jacob was the one to get the ball rolling.
Nice.
See, and if the fans would have ignored them, like Soul Decision, do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
So Soul Decision, who is a Canadian boy band, it has Trevor Guthrie, who became quite large in the last few years.
Yes.
They on their Facebook page was like, if this gets 1,000 retweets or likes, we'll get back together, and it did not.
I think you were the only comment on Twitter, because I think they wrote it on Twitter as well.
20, it was not a lot. They did do like one show at like the PNE, which is the Pacific CNE type thing.
In Vancouver, right?
In Vancouver. They did not get back together, and I was like, son of a bitch. But they really did really terrible marketing, and I feel like there was they did none. So I feel like people didn't know this existed, and I just happened to be listening to a Soul Decision song one day, and I was like, oh, let's see what they're up to. I'm like, oh yes, I would like a reunion, and then as of now, no reunion with them. But
maybe you could be their manager, Chinzia.
I'm okay. No, thanks. So anyways, so Ashley declined because of Broadway. And then Lance was saying that he actually did Broadway with Ashley when they did Hairspray.
And Trevor said that he still talks to him, so that's good. Because when we went to Rewind Con, it looked like they didn't like him at all.
It did kind of look like that. A couple of them went to go talk to him at one point, but the way that they had set it up at Rewind Con, which was that trash fire of a convention, is that they had all the boy banders, and then O-Town was at the end. Then there was like a little vendor, and then Ashley was on the other side of the vendor.
But it seemed like a wall, right? It was like a wall, and then like they had like jewelry, and I was like, what is this?
It was just like very random. This vendor was just literally in the middle of like the table.
Yeah.
So,
I was like, is there going to be a fight? Like, why do you have him blocked off from here? Yeah.
Maybe he asked for that?
I don't know.
It was just really funny.
More willing to talk to him than others. I don't really know, but he was doing his own.
Well, as the day went on, they went up to talk to him, but I was like, okay. They don't seem very, they don't seem very happy to see each other.
Yikes. Okay, interesting.
But that whole convention was a shit. We should do an episode about that convention one of these days. But anyways,
we should. Even though, like in the end, we made it like okay for us.
Yes, exactly. It's what you make it, right?
Yeah.
So then Lance said to Trevor, with Ashley not being back, did you guys ever consider, or would you adding somebody new? And then Lance immediately cut off. So Trevor was like, no, but then Lance immediately cut him off and said, oh, people have been saying the same thing about us. And like, should we replace Justin and stuff? And he's like, yes. I'm more of a boy band purist. And I feel like we don't like, it's just everybody, we're not going to put a new member in type.
Just keep the original people.
Yeah. Which is fine. That's what Backstreet did when Kevin took a break and things like that. Like, I don't think.
Because they also wanted to do one for BSB as well. But they're like, no, we don't want to.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense because that person didn't experience any of the experiences that the initial guys did. So they wouldn't even be able to connect like that, right?
Yeah. And really they're a family too, right? After that many years together.
Right, exactly.
And the fact that there are 5 of them, that the 4 of them can like split things up, right? Like,
yeah.
So they mentioned it at one point. I didn't take any notes, but they mentioned that show, which I cannot remember, the Rockstar, I think it was called. Where they had to find a new singer for In Excess.
In Excess, yeah. Wasn't it
JD?
What's that guy's name now? Yeah, I don't remember.
I can't remember. But for something like that, like a rock band, that does make sense that you're going to need to replace a member because everyone has their own roles, right? So you have like a musician, or you, like the singer or the guitarist or whatever. Like for that makes sense. For a boy band, you can just like rejig things around. You don't need to put in a new person. Lance did mention, because he's been asked this before, if they did, he would want Darren Criss to be in there because he feels like it's a good vibe.
And he apparently did like a cappella or something like that. He was saying he learned it.
I think so.
Are there legalities of replacing a band member?
Probably. They didn't get into any of that stuff, but pretty much just saying like we're just going to keep it with our original members. We don't need the other person, which is totally fine.
Because when you sign the contract, do you sign it with your name or the Old Town name? Is that a dumb question? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a great question.
Name.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
Old Town consisting of blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Blah,
Yeah, I guess your own name. I don't know. That's why I said maybe it's a dumb question.
It is not a dumb question.
No.
Because also some people have stage names too. So
I'm just getting a sweater. 1 second.
Their legal name or their stage name, like whatever.
Right? I don't know.
Point.
Yeah.
Is Lydia wearing pajama pants?
Yes.
Oh, they're very cute.
They are.
She has now disappeared from the frame. Okay, Lydia is putting a hoodie on. She has now rejoined. Is putting.
It's cold there.
And yes, you're good to go, bud. Okay. Yes. So anyway, so then one of the questions was, what is your favorite song that you guys have? So Trevor said All or Nothing is his favorite song.
Yeah. And this was an interesting tidbit.
So then Lance is like, he wanted that song so bad, but that song was actually supposed to be for Westlife.
Oh.
So Steve Mack, I guess, wrote it.
Yes, because they worked together with Westlife, and Steve Mack worked together a lot.
Yes, right. So that was like, okay, this is a regular Westlife song. We're gonna give it to Westlife, whatever. Then Clive Davis was like, no. This song is not going to Westlife. I am taking this song and giving it to O-Town. So like
the perks of having Clive Davis, they said. See?
There you go. So essentially kind of like in the Whitney Houston movie, he played the little tape and it was like a piano thing for O-Town, and they're like, oh my God, this song is baller. Yes, we want this song, whatever. So
yeah,
that's how they got that song. And then Trevor was saying like, we have one big song where you guys have a lot more of those, but this is our song, so let us have our song type thing, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
So then Lance was saying, okay, so since you're in a 5-part group, do you guys ever fight over who gets to be the lead singer of the song? And then Trevor said yes. And he said it's because they were on a competition show. So they were all very competitive to begin with, and then putting it there. But he said it wasn't like it's not that bad. But yeah, so, but then he also was mentioning how having a TV show was very helpful for launching their career, because then people could see their personalities and things like that, and it made them stand out more than just like the random boy bands that were. And
they know how to perform on TV, like, because they've already been in training for it.
Exactly. Right. So
yeah, that's true.
And then he asked Lance what his favorite song was, and Lance said that his favorite NSYNC song is "It Makes Me Ill," and he always wished that was a single. And
Don't you like that song too?
I do like that song.
It's a good song.
Makes me ill, see you give love and attention. Then Trevor said that he wished that "Girl" was a single. And every time I hear "Girl," I automatically think of the girl dance, like da da na na na. And I always do this dance, and Diane had never seen O-Town performing it this way, and she just thought I was a nutcase and was like, what are you doing? And I was just like, this is the microphone. The microphone will go down, and then whatever. And she's like, that first of all doesn't look like what that you think it looks like. And second of all, I've never seen. And then when O-Town perform it now in concert, they don't do that dance. So I just look like a crazy person. No. I swear that is. But
did you ever bring up that dance when you met them?
I don't think I did.
That would have been funny too. That could be like an icebreaker. Hey, do you remember that dance you used to do?
Yeah, exactly.
You can dance. My friend doesn't think I'm crazy.
Might have started doing some of the moves again.
Although they could have been like, "We're with your friend. You are crazy."
Pretty much, yeah. I can see them
And
doing
you can be
that.
like, I have this VHS tape that says differently.
That says otherwise. Yeah. Ooh, Soph, have I made you watch the live from New York video?
Yeah, we watched it with Diane at your house.
And I did make you
We
guys watch.
watched it a few times. Like
Yes,
yeah,
and then
several.
that's where you saw the dance, and I was not.
Yes.
Anyways, so then they said, Lance was like, "Hey, are you guys thinking of doing another album, whatever?" So Trevor's like, "That's interesting because we just actively started talking about that and how we kind of."
You know who else talking about a new album? Sorry, I don't know why I keep.
Yes, bring it in.
The Backstreet Boys.
Already?
Yeah, they were talking about it on the plane. They talked about it, I guess, at rehearsal.
Is it because they've been doing the DNA tour for 4 years? Is that what?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's right. So they're thinking about going back to their R&B roots.
Okay. What about Max Martin? What about
He did not say that. He said that we're talking to producers, so we'll see.
Maybe
I don't think Max Martin is an R&B producer,
No, he's
but
not. No, he's not.
But,
But I like it.
maybe
I feel like they just say genres and then it doesn't really end up all the way to R&B. So I'm sure he would be on the list.
I'm sure due to Backstreet time, none of this will occur. And this is the tour that never ends because they just added some more dates. They are now, so they were supposed to come to 90s Con. So
two of them.
Diane and I are going to 90s Con. And then so if you listen to last week's episode when we're like, oh, we're so excited to see
Nick and AJ
at 90s Con, they're not going to be there. They canceled because they added tour dates in Hong Kong. So they're doing a couple of dates there. And the day that we are recording this, they've also added some South Africa,
Japan too,
and Iceland.
Yeah.
So
Japan, they already went to.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, they're currently in Japan as we're recording this.
Yes,
I
that's
believe.
right. Yeah, I'm seeing all Nick's posts and I'm getting all jelly.
Yes. So they are definitely world touring it. So okay.
It almost feels like an Unbreakable tour because Unbreakable also had like a few legs.
In their defense, the pandemic did occur during this tour.
That's true. That is very true.
So
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe they'll do a Christmas tour.
They were in North America quite a bit, so the rest of the world can also have them. I get that.
Yeah, fair enough.
But we also missed out on a Christmas tour. We missing out, yeah.
And
it's okay. I digress.
As of right now, they have not announced anything for their 30th anniversary, which is April 20th. So that is coming up in a couple months. So
they're going golfing.
I'm hearing a lot of comments on Twitter asking them, what are they going to do?
They probably don't even know it's their anniversary. So
that's probably true.
But anyways, I digress.
I think Brian replied to a fan saying that it's our 30th year, so we won't do it on just one day. We will do stuff throughout the year.
Okay.
Which I guess it's okay, but also, come on, it's on the 20th. You want to do something on the 20th.
I feel like AJ said he wanted to go golfing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other guy.
AJ said a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. So, go in with no expectations. And if something happens, it's an excellent surprise. There you go.
That's true.
Yes, I agree. Yes.
People who are doing things, O-Town. So go check them out this summer because they will be in North America doing things.
Hooray! And they're great.
And
they are a great show.
Chef's kiss, man. Especially if Trevor ends up wearing a fishnet shirt. Oh, fantastic.
They are very high energy and fun. So anyways, okay. So they said they have actively started to write for an album. So then Lance says, how does that work? Do you guys collaborate together or whatever? So Trevor says how O-Town usually does it is everybody kind of just writes their own. And then they kind of have a meeting and they present each other's songs. The last album, Eric and Dan wrote something together. So it's kind of just do it their own thing because they kind of live all over. States. I don't think they all live near each other.
No. So I think they have to do a lot of Zoom too, right?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
They rent a house and do the show again. That's a good idea.
I feel like they usually, for cost-effective purposes, just go to Dan's house and like hang out there for a little bit.
Okay.
Don't they have like an RV as well?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
We saw it at their last show.
Yes.
Yes.
So exciting.
So this is interesting, Lydia. Do you remember Poo-Foo
No.
in relation to NSYNC?
Poo-Foo?
Poo-Foo.
Is it like the penguin who's like
That is Pingu.
Okay,
So no.
then no, I don't know.
So this used to be in the teen mags all the time. Like Lance's first job was dressing up as Poo-Foo, which was this like dog character.
That was funny.
So anyways, so apparently Lance is now making a show about Poo-Foo.
Yes.
So it's like, did he say
it's a children's show?
It's going to be a cartoon.
Yeah, it's a children's show. And he offered Trevor a part in the movie or the show. And he said to Trevor, think about what cartoon character you would like to be. Because you can do a voice for it.
So essentially, Poo-Foo is a Dalmatian dog who used to be a firefighter, but then is now retiring and a firefighter in New York, and is now moving to a farm to start a band with other farm animals. So he's like, I know a lot of boy banders. Maybe we can get some boy banders in on this. So I was like,
okay,
not against it.
Yeah.
Why not, Lance? Enjoy yourself.
God bless.
Give some jobs to your boy bander friends. That's cool.
That's true.
Make some money. Why not?
Yeah, there you go.
So then he asked Trevor, would you ever be up to making a new TV show to like making the band where you guys are kind of like the people who put together a band? And he said, yeah, they have talked about that. Would be kind of
they would be the hosts, right? That'd be cool.
They would be Lou, except less perverted.
Yeah.
Now they did kind of have that a few years ago with Nick and Emma when they did that boy band show. So I don't know if that's an actual pipe dream or whatever, but and then they also said if Ashley ever decides to come back to the band, that would be a good show to make too. Be like, hey, welcoming them back into the band, all this stuff, right?
I don't know if Ashley.
And I think, do you think there would be like conflict? There would be like, yeah, I never wanted to be in this band. And then dun dun dun, and then by the end of the episodes, they'd be like, okay, I do want to be in this band, because that's how good television is, right? You need conflict.
Yeah, reality TV isn't real, right?
Yeah, so they would make conflict somewhere somehow.
I guess so. Yeah, I would love it if he did, but I just don't.
We could write it. We could write for them if they wanted.
That's true. Anyways. What else happened on this podcast? Soph, do you remember? Chili is coughing right now.
Yes. So what did you say?
So then Lance says, Ashley, we love seeing your naked pictures online, but come back to the band.
I love them too. It's the best.
I was like, Lydia agrees with Lance here.
I can't.
So then Trevor said, okay, Lance, if you guys ever reunite, then we'll get Ashley and we'll be your opening act on tour.
So then I was thinking they're not on tour with Ashley.
Oh, I know. Yikes.
I was like, that's a clever response there, Trevor.
That is a clever response.
Because but also
sign me
a little bit shade.
Yeah, I would attend that concert in a heartbeat. Absolutely.
Me too. Let's go. Let's do it. Woo.
Yes.
So Lance was also talking about how he's been like hosting the Pop 2K stuff for them. I guess Chris is doing it now. And he said it's how nice it is that Chris is doing stuff on stage and like doing more things. So that's kind of cool.
Oh, and I really like that they're like, oh, Chris wanted to be doing more. So he went to do the choreography together. So Trevor's like, okay, well, you have to come then practice for it. You
can't just now you mean?
Yeah, you can't just wing it.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
So Chris is doing
that was
stuff.
Yeah.
Hooray!
So it's like excellent. And then they had some questions from the fans. So it said, what reality TV show would you want to be on? So he said The Challenge, because he likes that.
Yes, MTV The Challenge is good.
I've never heard
of
that.
Have you seen that show?
I watched a couple of episodes because one of the wrestlers that I liked was on that show. And the banana, I think that his name was like Johnny Banana or something.
Is it
So
like a
what
food
exactly
one?
is that show about?
So they do like different like obstacle courses and different activities, and like your stamina has to be like really good. It's kind of like
You have to be
Survivor.
fit to be on that
Yeah,
show.
I would say it's kind of like Survivor. Like you survive the activity that you're supposed to do.
Okay, because Trevor also said he would not want to be on Survivor, but I guess
Yes,
the
he did say
challenge
that.
just does the challenge stuff, and then they get to see him,
Yeah,
like,
I think he's
camp out
more
and
like
stuff.
he's fit, so that's why he would be good at it.
Makes
Yeah.
sense, yes. Then they also suggested Big Brother, like Celebrity Big Brother.
Oh,
And then,
I really like that Lance, when he exercises, he watches different countries' Big Brother, and he mentioned Big Brother Canada.
Oh, I did not get a call back for that, unfortunately. So
oh,
makes
it's
sense.
starting.
But at
again
least you
on the-
tried, though.
Yeah, that's true. I did. Maybe I should release that my video, just so I can be like, look what I did.
Yes, you should.
You
Why
should, if you feel comfortable sharing that. Yeah.
not? And then the other show that Trevor would love to be on is Dancing with the Stars.
Yes.
But he doesn't think he's famous enough for it. And then I laughed out loud because I don't know
Me
if you've
too.
seen half of the people on this show.
Famous people.
Yeah, and then Lance was like, Big Time Rush was also on there. And
He's
I
like,
don't
you
think
guys are
they're
bigger than Big Time Rush, so obviously,
Yeah.
like.
Agreed.
And then Michael was like, Arnold Schwarzenegger's son is on there.
Yeah.
Just
Yes,
he's
because
Arnold
of-
Schwarzenegger's
that's
son.
right,
So,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
he's like, you actually had sold albums and did things.
Yeah.
I agree.
So that would be great to see Trevor.
And then I guess because it's on Peacock now, I think it's on Peacock.
It's on Disney Plus.
Sorry, Disney Plus.
Yes.
Lance is like, it's like better now. It's like a better show. I was like, oh,
You
cool.
can get more guests and have more budget.
more
and stuff.
funding.
Yeah.
Okay, so then he was saying, Lance was saying there's this new show. I think he said it was called The Players. And he's like, it's based on that game Mafia. Have you
Oh,
played it?
yeah,
Is that
Mafia
great?
Mystery.
I was like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Like, I've never heard of this show.
So
or
I
anything.
follow a couple people on Instagram that play it. So apparently you have to pretend like you're part of the mafia, and then people guess who killed who. I think it's like
Oh.
that.
That's fun.
So it's like murder mystery almost meets mafia.
Mm.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
so-
it's something like that. Yeah.
So
If I
apparently
remember
this
correctly.
show films in a castle in Scotland.
Oh.
And it's half celebrities and half regular people.
Oh.
I was like, interesting.
that sounds
Okay,
fun.
maybe so. So the next question was, what happened to Ikaika?
Yay!
And then I thought of Lydia again. I'm like, Lydia, I hope she's listening.
I was
Yay!
like, wow, double Ikaika talk here. That's
Oh,
pretty
man,
impressive.
It's good. It's good shit.
So essentially, Trevor's like, well, he quit the band
Yeah.
and then he joined Element. So LMNT.
Which I remember Element.
Yes. So that was the band that had Matthew Morrison from Glee and a couple of
Yes.
that used to be that were on making the band and then left. So like the boy band show that we watched, like Fourth Ave would have been like the Element, like that would have been the equivalent.
Yeah.
Of that. So,
Mm.
And they were saying Matthew Morrison could have been an NSYNCer if like he could take over one of the spots.
there you go. So yes. He said
And then-
that nobody really talked to Ikaika afterwards.
Oh.
And that maybe he's a doctor and has kids. And
Or a
then
lawyer?
Michael was all like, man, we don't know. Yeah, he's a doctor, he has kids. He's also a lawyer. He's this, who knows, right? So that was
Oh,
kind
God.
of,
Yeah.
Poor guy.
yeah, so that was fun. So then Trevor also mentioned that he used to have frosted tips at one point, which is true. He did have little,
Yes.
like, edges
That
of his
is
hair
true.
dyed,
And then they shared a picture like online about like showing him having it. Yeah.
with
Twas
those
the
little
style at
frosted
the time.
tips. Twas the
It was.
style at the time.
And then they're saying Joey also had frosted tips, but his were red.
Yeah.
And then when he
okay.
washed them out, they were blonde.
So
Aw.
there you go. There you go. Twas the style at the time. Still
So it was
lovely.
funny. Yes.
So then for some reason they started talking about music video shoots, and Trevor was talking about how like NSYNC's Pop shoot, how great that video was.
A dirty
And
mouth.
then
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lance was saying how horrible it was to record it because it was 48 hours they were awake.
Yeah, he
in
didn't
one
sleep
room.
at all.
No
fuck?
sleep. It was pretty
What?
much shut up and dance. And they had just come from New Orleans. They only had 2 hours of sleep.
Oh.
And then had to go into this thing. And then like the first day, it was all individual shots. They're like, can we not like sleep? well, you're filming the no. And they were like, and he's like, at that point, they realized that management didn't care about them and we were just using them. So he said, so he has a lot of PTSD from that. Although he enjoyed the video, it was not that. And that's like where Joey injured himself. So then Wade Robson had filled in and all that stuff. So
I remember that. Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, they were talking about it, how like when you like do a close up, they're like, oh, that's not Joey, that's Wade.
Yeah.
Wow, Joey's footwork got really great, huh? Like,
oh no.
He improved so much overnight.
So then Lance said this line, which I thought was kind of interesting as well. And he said, no strings attached is basically a lie because it just means that other people are pulling the strings now. So they got away from Lou, but then they had other people doing shit. And I'm like, that, it's true.
Although to be fair, Lance was like, oh, we didn't really want to lead the band. Like nobody wanted to take over the responsibility of doing like certain things. So you know like how Howie and Brian are like the business side, they take care of like the money things, but like nobody in NSYNC wanted to do that. So I mean, if you had NSYNC? I don't know, but maybe like
JC?
Maybe, but to be fair, they didn't really want to take over and do things and like so I don't know.
They still had management and stuff, so
yeah.
That's tough because like Lou cared about them personally, but took advantage of them financially. But then you get these other guys, they didn't care and they took advantage. It's like, oh, which is the worst, the devil you know or the devil you don't, right?
Yeah. So it was interesting. Yeah, everything there was interesting.
Wow.
So then they started talking about working out, and that Trevor did something called did he say Cody or Kobe?
Kobe Bryant. So I believe when he passed away, there was like a challenge, like a 100-day or 24-day challenge to like celebrate Kobe's life or whatever. Because he wore 24 in the LA Lakers.
Okay, this makes way more sense now with context. Thank you.
Yes. So then that's why he did 24 10 times or whatever he said.
So it was 8 sets of 24 for 24 days.
Yes.
They didn't say sets of what though.
Sets of push-ups. Yeah, push-ups. Yeah. Because he was doing like 100 push-ups in those 24 days each day.
It would be more than 100. It'd be almost 200 push-ups. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really get what
like that's a lot because Lance said that he joined their tour and Trevor was like working out like a nutcase and he's like, oh God. He's like, then he said that him and Michael are kind of into fitness, but not really. So now then he was talking about how like if Lance sees Michael working out, then he will like work out as well. It motivates him and stuff. But like if he just decides he's going to eat a bunch of junk food, then he's like, oh, I don't want to work out. And then it just kind of derails everything. But now he is watching Big Brother Canada. So he'll put on a 1-hour episode and then just walk on the treadmill and watch the episode. So that's kind of like what he's doing right now. So then somebody asked about fitness tips on the road. So Trevor says it's all about discipline and finding any time to do like literally anything. He's like, sleep is very important. So he did mention that, but he's like, but if you have like 45 minutes to spare, go work out at the hotel gym or something for 45 minutes. Like moving, just doing anything is good. And then
they said, stay away from sugar because sugar will get you. But it will. It tastes good. That's what they said.
Yes.
We literally made candy apples like a day ago.
Did you eat candy apple?
I have one left if you want it.
Good.
Okay.
But like everything is like sugar. Like how can you not, like you're addicted to sugar, right?
Right? Yeah.
It's hard. That's why they say be disciplined, but it's hard.
Yeah.
Yes. And then Lance is really into 8-minute abs, the workout.
Oh yeah.
So apparently when he was on Dancing with the Stars, he was very into it. And then like all the youngins were like, what's this? And he's like, oh, it's 8-minute abs. So then they would like do an 8-minute ab workout and he would like lead them in this workout before his show.
And then Michael was making fun of him. Like, that's not even enough. I think he said like 6 minutes or whatever.
7 minutes. And he's like, no, it needs to be 8 minutes because that's the key number here is 8-minute abs.
Oh God.
So it's pretty funny.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
So then they didn't do the thing that they do with the other boy banders where they find like an old article and ask, do you have the same answers? But they ended up doing like finish the boy band lyric. So the very first one was from Liquid Dreams. So obviously Trevor knew the rest of the song.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. He's like, what? You know the song from O-Town? Yeah, I thought that was funny.
It was very good. And he said it's absolutely about what you think it's about.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But then he said that there was like a PG version of the response back then was that it was about a girl who was made of liquid who could morph into these other girls, and that's in their dreams.
Sure.
Like, but that's not what it was about, obviously.
Because I guess like it's teenagers, right? Back then, so you want to be appropriate for teenagers.
Yes. Correct. And then Lance was like, "Well, we had Digital Get Down, so which one came out first? Who was more about dirty things?" And then they determined Digital Get Down came out first. And they're like, "Yes, we are the pioneers." I'm like, "Okay, Lance." Okay, buddy.
O-Town is the dirty boy band. Yeah.
So then he had him finish the lyric for One Direction. That's What Makes You Beautiful.
Oh, he knew it?
Yeah, it was good.
And then he said, wow, my handwriting got really small. Oh, so then he said how to keep in touch, and he said Trevor Penick 24. So now that I understand that the 24 refused to this like workout that he was doing and Kobe Bryant, so that now makes sense, because I was like, what a random number to just randomly put on your Twitter handle. But I'm like, okay, it makes more sense now. And then for some reason they were talking about Big Time Rush, and then he was saying that Trevor was saying that townies really like Big Time Rush, so they're
so every time I guess like the townies meet the boys, they talk about Big Time Rush, so that's how they found out about them. And I guess they're going to be a guest on the show in a couple of weeks or next week.
They're going to be a guest on the podcast. That's right.
Yes.
So instead of doing individual members, Lance is splitting them up into two, like pair and a pair. So there's going to be 2 Big Time Rush episodes on Lance's podcast.
Because then he was saying like, when I get through all the boy banders, does this show end? Like, what am I going to do? So then he's like, oh, maybe I'll go to like 90s girls groups or something like that.
Celebs or whatever from the 90s.
Or like podcasts that are dedicated to boy bands.
Oh,
there you go.
Cool. That would be nice.
I did give Michael my business card, but he was drunk, so I don't think he has it.
Probably like threw it away after, maybe.
Probably.
Or maybe it's hidden somewhere in a jacket.
You know what? Maybe he has it up on the wall and he's like, the boy band Break Girls. One day we'll be on their podcast.
One day.
They took our idea and they're doing their show.
They're like, man, no one else had the idea to talk about boy bands of the 90s.
Yeah, right, exactly.
No one will know. Nobody listens to these Canadian girls.
Yeah, right? I mean,
Well, they have a little bit more pull as they're friends with boy banders.
That's correct, yes.
Had more skin in the game.
You do have an in as being a member of a boy band.
Yes.
Also friends with multiple boy bands.
There's
and they're on iHeartRadio, which could call the boy banders
we are
and be
also
like, hey.
on iHeartRadio. Just so you know.
Okay, yes.
Your podcast.
But do you know anyone from iHeart that can help us get boy banders on?
No.
I do not. Even though I technically work for iHeartRadio, kind of.
Okay.
Mel owns iHeart. I have 0 connections, so no.
Dang it. Oh, well.
You know what? Our goal at 90s Con is, if the boy banders don't all cancel, is to at least get Chris or somebody to like do something with us.
Chris definitely needs to do it, because he said he would.
Chris told me on my birthday that he was going to be on our podcast, and that has not occurred yet. So just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there, Christopher Allen Kirkpatrick.
That's right. She middle named you. That's right. She middle named you.
Yeah, maybe we just need to give him like a roll of toonies or something. Be like, do you want some of these?
You do the roll of toonies.
You just be like, hey, it'll be a quick like 5-minute interview if you can't stay for longer than that.
We'll give him the goth toonies. You know, the goth toonies that are coming out soon. It'll be like, look at these. What about
that? Could be fun.
Yeah, there you go.
They're not goth toonies. They're memorial toonies for the Queen.
Everyone's calling them goth toonies because they're black and they look pretty cool.
You know, we were so on board and then have just gone off the rails again.
Yeah.
So, anyways, if you have not
listened us, though, come on. If you've listened to us, you know this is how we are.
Yeah. Is there more to the podcast, or did he finish with the lyric thingy?
He's done.
The end of the podcast.
Okay. I see. Okay.
I thought it was great. It was nice to hear a little bit more about O-Town.
It was?
Because I feel like we don't know all of the information, so that's good to hear more.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you know where else you could hear about O-Town, my friends?
Where, Chinzia? Oh, yeah, actually.
If you go to, I cannot spell. If you go to YouTube, there is not one, but 2 interviews with O-Town. One
Yes.
O-Town. That is episode.
Oh, can you share the screen so that we know what you're talking about?
I can try.
Is it? Are you referencing our own YouTube channel? Okay. I was gonna say. I don't know. Okay.
Ooh, our YouTube channel. So Boy Band Break, BOYBANDBREAK. If you go to episode 140, that is our O-Town interview. That's actually pinned to the top of our thing. What is that thing called? Our channel.
Yep.
But we also have an episode with just Trevor, which we also have. We're talking about my birthday and we ran into O-Town Niagara Falls. That's episode 211. But where is our Trevor episode?
Would it be before the O-Town or after?
No, it was after the O-Town one.
Okay.
Trevor Penick.
Spell. My gosh. Sorry, my Episode 152 of Boy Band Break is Trevor Penick from O-Town. So we sat down and chatted with Trevor. You know what, Lance? We got him first.
Yeah.
Booyah!
Booyah!
So
we know what's up.
And apparently I also got him to do a shout out for Josh. So yes. So and then when we randomly chatted with him on Instagram Live, we have
yes, that was very funny.
Yeah,
when we try to do the picture at the end, that was very funny.
Just like all jumping on top of Josh and trying to get him out of the way. So anyways, yes. So anyways, go check out and if you are a fan of O-Town, just go and check out our videos because we actually have like concert stuff too. From last summer, we did a bunch of things. We have
Xenia, Ohio
as well. But we went to Ohio. We have videos of that. So
Kalamazoo, Michigan as well.
Kalamazoo, Michigan, Xenia, Ohio. Go check it out.
Hopefully they come around our areas in the summer too, maybe.
In Canada?
They have an event.
Yeah.
They should be able to come to Canada. When I was talking to Joel, there's some issues about them coming to Canada because they can't bring their merch up here because there's a lot of rules about at customs and things like that. But I don't care. I feel like they can come closer to us.
We can make merch here.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, I gotta talk to Joel about this because, like, yeah.
Even Niagara Falls, New York again.
Information, which I do not. I don't know why I'm making it sound like I know him. I do not. But anyways, yes. So go check out You know what? Let's go check where they are right now.
But yeah, even if they go back to New York, Niagara Falls, New York, that's a close one-ish.
So to check out O-Town on the internet, their website is otownofficial.com.
Do they always have flowers around them?
They have for a while, yeah. They used to have the lines and circle thing.
Yes.
Yes.
Got it. Sorry.
Very handsome man.
They are currently not. Oh, I clicked on the wrong thing. Shows is what we're going to look at.
There you go.
So in April, they have a whole set of shows. So they are going to be in Cincinnati, Ohio, Jeffersonville, Indiana, Nashville, Tennessee, which is on a Saturday. And Chris from NSYNC is also going to be there. So
what day is that?
It's a Saturday, April 15th.
At the Sky.
I know. I was just like, like I just wish Nashville was not a 12-hour drive. Like if it was like maybe 8, not as bad. But yes. Then they have a couple of 3 shows in May in Texas. So they're checking out a couple of Texas places. And then they're going to be in, I guess this is Illinois in June. So they are still adding more shows. So check them out. They have lots of stuff coming up. Very fun in concert. We keep hoping that they're going to add them to 90s Con, but I'm like 99% sure that's not happening. So hopefully by the time this episode airs, we will know who's going to be at 90s Con to replace Nikki.
Yes.
So yes, and there you go, friends. And of course, as always, follow us at Boy Band Break.
All right.
We have all of the links in a link tree.
That's right. All right.
And a coffee.
We ready to wrap up, guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do it.
Thanks for taking a break with us, guys.
Until next time.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.